I've taken the Taida hose. I'm making this video for people probably on the mainland that are just doing this for the first time, or you know, somewhere out in the world that isn't in Hawaii where all these guys know everything. It's like Grant Mara was laughing at me. He goes, brother. He goes, you Halleys are, at least you're trying. Basically. He's right too. But I took it as a kind of a compliment because I've never been to Hawaii, and I've dealt a lot with Steve Entries, VT Cycles. And he told me that if I ever do come over there, that there'd be a lot of guys over there that would ride with me. That would ride with this old Howley white guy. And I don't know the politics over there or anything, so anyway, I thank you for that. Much respect to the Hawaiians and all their great bikes and their great builds and their great everything and their great advice. Alright, I've hooked the water pump back up. It works great. This Bosch water pump works really good. It's about 70, 75 bucks, 70 if you find it somewhere. It works really nice. It's quiet. The only problem with this water pump is that it has a huge 1-inch inlet which will not go into this 5/8 hose, so I had to make an adapter. Same thing with going into the head right here. This part is the outlet, and it's got the blue hose on it. Up here, what I wanted to show you, what I'm doing, is, see, I've cleaned up this cover. This cover looks pretty nice, and I've used this stuff, I've used it as a base, the foam. And it's cheap, it's easy, I can move it around. And I want to show you what it looks like in the light. Now I'm lining up these 3 holes, this one, and this one for now. My panels don't fit perfectly, mainly because they're 25 years old. This part's 25 years old, so is this, and they've shrunk a little bit. So the goal is to get the panel in very close to here. All this has been loosened up for the hose to fit underneath. You can see right here. That's not a problem. What I want to do is center the radiator, which I've done. Basically centered it, and then what I can do is I can go back in here and put in another piece, and I can make that a shelf all the way across here, so that the airflow will go in through the radiator and not around the edges. And I can make a shelf here and a shelf over here, kind of make a little box like this. That'll work. The hose, I wanted to show you, this side's going to be hooked up, but the other side is already close. What I mean by close is that if you're going to do this method, what you need to do is get some black ties right here. Buy them at Home Depot real cheap. And I take a tie right here underneath this floor panel. And there's a frame, and then with that frame, this little hose fits up in there real perfect. But you have to get the ties around it to where they're not going to fall off on the end, and they're not going to hit that bolt right there. Okay, and then there's one in the front too, and I'll do the same thing on the other side. Now after I get both of these hoses, basically take the kinks out of them, take the slack out of them, get them where I want them, then I can cut them to fit into the radiator, the back of the radiator, which will be, isn't that a neat blue color? Wait till I polish that. You're gonna absolutely love it. We got a beautiful day out here. It's Saturday. I've decided I'm going to stay up all day, sit out here in the sun. on listening to some great tunes over here. You got to have good tunes if you're going to do on Dio work. My problem with the tunes is that years ago I could play my tunes and record at the same time, and now if you play Happy Birthday song or something like that, you're gonna video copyright nonsense. So on the back of the radiator, as you can see, are the inlet and outlet pipes, which is fine. I'm going to take this shelf right here, which comes off. I'll show you. I'm just going to flip it off with my hand. See, I've flipped off the shelf, and I've made just little tiny divots in it for it, and so you can see it stands up right there. Nice thing about this stuff is it's moldable. Makes a great stand in an awkward situation, which is in here, and it will. It's moldable, so as you can see the air deals here and here. They're not very efficient. I know that, but I really don't care because I get airflow through the front of the bike, and I get them to go out the back. And what I also will probably do is on the very top of this radiator, I'll cut a small piece about that wide, and I'll run it right across here so that the radiator will rest against that. As long as the radiator rests against this right here and does not bang into things and vibrate, then it won't vibrate a hole in it. And of course my wiring, I got wiring over Hell's Half Acre, but I don't care. I've just talked to the wife. We've agreed, well, I've agreed, so it's good enough for me, that I'm going to find me a couple-year-old 600 RR 600 Honda, used one with low mileage, and that's my next bike. And of course she says, well, we'll talk about it, we'll talk about it. That means it ain't fucking never going to happen, buddy. That's wife speak. But I'm going to make it happen. All right, we continue. I got to turn the tunes on, and we'll continue.